I met Olivia at a sports event. My friend dragged me there for some kind of city marathon or something like that. I can't really remember the details anymore. I'm not much of a runner, but I used to hit the gym to stay in shape. Still, that day I decided to tag along with the group and didn't regret it, though I knew that this agreement would cost me 4 years of my life. I spotted Olivia right away in the crowd. Her high tail, a t-shirt in some bizarre neon green shade, and of course, short shorts. Barely short enough, especially considering it was late April and the day's temperature barely touched 13 degrees Celsius. Aren't you freezing? I couldn't help but ask. And that's where it all began. It happened so fast that just 2 months later, she was already living with me. It was both scary and vivid. 2 years later, I popped the question. At the time, she didn't give me a clear answer, saying she needed to get on her feet before we started a family. A year later, I asked again, and this time she said yes, but she wasn't in any rush to plan the wedding. And now, 4 years later, we finally applied to the registry office. The invitations were sent out, and the dress was bought. "You shouldn't see it," she said, ridiculously offended when I happened to peek into the bedroom while she was trying on the dress. Olivia looked stunning. Bare shoulders, a lifted bust, and a leg teasingly visible in the neckline. We spent the next hour rehearsing for our wedding night. "It's bad luck," she told me. "Then, you're not supposed to see the bride in her dress before the wedding." I don't believe in superstitions. I just laughed it off. All this happened during the May holidays. She went with her colleagues to another building event. It all seemed pretty funny to me. People communicate better in a familiar environment. Anyway, they organized sports competitions to boost team spirit. It was a hot day, so everything happened at the campsite. The sun, the beach, the outdoor top, and again, her favorite short shorts. She kept sending me photos. She won the contest in one of them. After that, their classes gradually turned into parties, and the photos began to arrive less frequently, but she was captured in other photos posted by other people from the event. In the last few photos, she was captured hugging one of her colleagues, a guy about 5 years older than her. When Olivia was supposed to return closer to midnight on a private bus, I quietly went to bed since I had work the next day. I woke up at 2 a.m., and she still wasn't home. I immediately called her. She answered on the third ring, slurring, saying she was on her way. About 15 minutes later, she stumbled out of the same minibus they had arrived in. I was standing on the balcony watching as she clumsily got out of the car, almost tripping, laughing loudly and with a man's hand supporting her. Then the same guy from the photos stepped out, held her slightly by the waist, whispered something in her ear, and handed her her gym bag. I didn't exactly like the sight. She got up after a few minutes. "I'm home, babe," she said, giggling softly. "Yeah, I see," I replied coldly. "Oh, you're not asleep?" She giggled again, dropping her bag in the hallway and walking past me into the bedroom. "I'm just going to sleep. Amazing. She hadn't passed out already. Olivia didn't need to drink much to get drunk fast. She collapsed into bed right away. I stood in the bedroom doorway, watching as she stripped off her t-shirt and shorts, only to find she wasn't wearing any underwear. "Where's your laundry?" I managed to ask. She never did this. I knew that for sure after 4 years. Olivia waved her hand, dismissing, and passed out the moment her head hit the pillow. I tried to calm the strange tightening feeling in my chest, walked over to bed, and picked up her shorts. Definitely no underwear. Then I went through her bag. The only things inside were a sweatshirt and a swimsuit. What the hell? I stared at Olivia, realizing she couldn't explain anything right now. So I decided to wait until she sobered up. I ended up sleeping in another room and woke up to the sound of my phone ringing nearby. It was Olivia's. I'd never gone through her phone or read her messages, but that night a text just appeared on the home screen. It said, "Let's pretend nothing happened. Okay? I have a family. You have a wedding. Once doesn't mean anything." At that moment, the question of where my future wife's underwear had gone suddenly seemed insignificant. I just packed my things, quietly went to work, and in the evening there she was, an ideal bride waiting for me with dinner. "Oh, I'm so ashamed," she said, standing in the doorway. I thought she was finally going to confess. But instead, she continued, I got so drunk. Is that it? What else is there to say? I had too much. Sure, but I don't think it deserves this cold attitude. What does it deserve? I was starting to get angry. Maybe it deserves that you came home without underwear. What nonsense, she said, her face flushing immediately. Don't play the fool. You undressed in front of me. Olivia hesitated for a moment, then, looking frustrated, disappeared into the bedroom. Don't you trust me? Yes, I trust you, I said sarcastically. But apparently I forgot to trust Lucas. Which one? What are you talking about? Get out. I snapped, throwing the gym bag she came with yesterday at her. Pack your stuff and get out. Read the last message from Lucas, she said quietly before breaking into tears. He talks about his family and says once doesn't mean anything. I didn't know what I was doing. It was the alcohol, the heat. I didn't mean it. It's all just a mess. I didn't respond. Just silently packed her things into the bag. Finally, I threw the wedding dress on top. Go, Olivia. Go before I completely lose it. She left without taking anything. Maybe she thought she'd come back later to beg for forgiveness. But that wasn't going to happen. Cheating is something I can't forgive. No matter what state she was in, whether drunk or sober, it didn't matter how much I loved her or how attached I was. After that, I couldn't respect her anymore. Later that night, I brought her things to her parents. They lived out of town, and I didn't plan to go inside. I left her things by the gate, but her mother came out to talk to me. She tried to convince me it wasn't worth ending a relationship over one stupid mistake, that I could have been in her shoes too. Anything can happen to anyone, she said. Has it happened to you? I asked, looking at the would-be mother-in-law. She stumbled, lowered her eyes, and her husband just shook my hand silently. Even though he didn't say a word, I could feel his support and the shame he felt for his daughter. After that, I did my best to avoid Olivia. She didn't try to contact me either, because there was nothing left between.